This podcast contains advice that should never be followed, spoilers you'll wish you hadn't heard, and language you wouldn't teach to children.
When life gets you down, your car just won't start. Agony art. It's time for agony art. If you've reached a dead end, you're not sure what to do. Agony art. Well, agony art is for you. At times life is grand, you've got the world in your hands. Then somehow you drop that ball. Instead of watching it fall, give agony art a call.
Welcome to Agony Art, the Agony Art podcast in which we try to solve your problems, not using our own brain power, but instead by telling you how those problems were solved in the great art of our age. And when we inevitably fail to solve those problems, at least you're left with a fun reading, listening and watching list to enjoy in your spare time. My name's Aaron, I'm an author and an occasional reader of books, very occasional. And I've got Carl, our film fan, and Liam, our music maestro, here with me in our swanky studio in my back garden. Say hello, lads.
There is so much swank in this studio right now.
Swank off.
I'm a fan and Liam's a maestro. Excuse me.
It's alliterative, isn't it? Film fan, music maestro.
Would you prefer film fanatic?
No, not really.
Think of something with an F that you can...
Fantastic film forager.
Forager. I like that.
Yeah.
He's foraging in the archives of film.
Star Trek
To
forager.
solve your problems. Well, I've got something interesting to talk about today, which is, a few episodes ago, Liam said that at the end of each episode we should say, we should each commit ourselves to one piece of media. Say, if you're going to consume one piece of art we mentioned today, it should be this one. Do you want to try doing that today?
Yeah, I'm a little bit insulted it took you this long to put it into the podcast.
We've just got so many things to talk about, Liam. We have to...
We're busy people. We're
Yeah.
busy podcasters, Liam. Okay? We can't accommodate all your whims, all right?
But I would like this because, as we've established, I really haven't seen many films or read that many books, to be honest. And I would like
So
to
it
do more
condenses
of
it
these
for
things.
you.
So
Yeah, makes it
having
more
a
manageable.
focus list.
Reduces your mental load.
Does it have to be one we talk about on that episode?
Yes. Yeah, I think we should make it something we talked about that episode, because otherwise it's just random.
Not Braveheart every week.
Braveheart every week. But I watched it last week. Watch it again.
Until you appreciate it.
Have we considered what we're going to do if all of our examples are not actually that good?
I'll never recommend anyone watch Can Westlife Cut It.
So, Liam, are you saying that it should be at the end of each episode or at the end of each problem?
Well, originally I thought end of each episode we could...
End of each episode.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
we'll
I
give it a
think-
go today. We'll give it a
Yeah.
go.
One film per week is enough, I think.
All right.
I've recommended that someone at work watch Karate Kid every day for the last 3 months. They still haven't.
Why would they watch it every day for 3 months?
It was my prescription. They were sad. So.
All right, cool. Well, if I start doing the outro script and I forget to do it, one of you remind me, please. Thanks. So, before we begin, I want to make it very clear that we're not really here to solve your life's hardest problems. All of our submissions are certified 100% trivial or fictional pickles. And our advice should almost never be followed. After all, the biggest problem we've had to solve this week was whether we're going to recommend one piece of art per problem or per episode.
It's always commitment, isn't it? That we struggle to commit to.
Oh, I don't know if I can commit to commitment. And as you just heard from Carl, we couldn't even sort that one out. So we're really only here to have fun. So if you're having a really hard time, please go to our website for guidance on who to turn to. That's agonyartpodcast.com. So with the disclaimer out of the way, let's get on with it. Here is our first problem for today. I think I'm developing a crush on an old friend. We've known each other for years, and I've never really thought of him like that. But suddenly, he seems to be getting a bit sexy. Do I make a move and risk ruining the relationship, or wait for the crush to fade and possibly miss out on some top quality loving?
Whit woo.
Whit woo.
Whit
Can
woo.
you not whistle?
Hold on.
There you
Very
go.
good. You've been practicing. Anyone else, when it got to that line, suddenly it seems to be getting a bit sexy, just get Marvin Gaye popping into their head, the whole...
Do you know what? The first bit was good, but then you ended on such a whimper.
It sounds like my cat when she wants food. She's like, well.
I think it was your cat.
I think it's wrong that you think my cat's getting a bit sexy,
Yeah, you're not looking back.
Let's move on.
So who wants to start? Who's got some suggestions for our friend? In fact, wait. Let's give them a name. Marvin.
The Martian.
Has anyone got any suggestions for Marvin? Oh, that's...
I've got a couple, but I'll let someone else go first this time.
No? Go, Liam, go.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right, well.
Hog the limelight, as usual. I'm joking.
Do you remember, yeah, go on, Liam, go.
Marvin, you've got to be careful. You've got to be careful with crushes. Back in 1998, there's a song released by Jennifer Page that was called Crush, from her debut self-titled album. And I would say that Jennifer Page offers the grounding that everybody obsessing over their latest infatuations needs, to be honest. She sums it up quite well in the chorus. It's just a little crush. It's not like I faint every time we touch.
It's just a little crush.
Crush. Beautiful. So...
That is such a tune, though, isn't it?
It's a really good song. It's a really good song. Did you know... So...
I've got a feeling this fact is going to be crap since Liam laughed at it
There's-
before he even started.
It is a great song, and there's a few credited songwriters, and one of them, his name is Mark Mueller. He also wrote the theme tune for 80s kids TV classic DuckTales.
Oh,
Have you heard that
yeah.
theme? That is a cracking theme.
It is.
I was trying to think of themes.
80s cartoon themes were amazing.
Yeah, I was trying to think of
And the
my
raccoons.
favourite.
Was it the raccoons?
Oh, yeah, I like the raccoons. The raccoons really creeped me out when I was a kid, though. It was really dark, wasn't it? It's just it was very dingy, the colour scheme. So
Yeah, it was.
it creeped me out.
I like Tom and Jerry kids. Tom and Jerry kids.
Come on and see where all the action is.
But we did interrupt, Liam.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I was trying to think of, like, what is the best kind of kids TV theme.
Oh, we
And-
were.
Yeah.
We went
We
off
should
on
have
the
waited.
we went off on the tangent Liam wanted us to go on.
And
Well, I've got
I
a
think-
contender here.
all right, cool.
Have you ever felt like this? When strange things happen, are you going round the twist?
I tell you what I really love
Banger.
as well. You ever see Trapdoor? Don't you open that trapdoor! It's a banging theme tune. It's so good.
I don't know what it is, though.
I don't remember that at all.
It's about a little Play-Doh man who has like I can't even remember. He has like this little trapdoor that he's not supposed to open because there's something down there and it's evil.
It's funny, I think
Is that your recommendation for the whole episode over already?
that was a good one, Aaron. And it's funny when you only remember the theme tune to something like Sharky and George, remember that?
Oh,
Sharky and George, crime busters of the sea.
That was terrible. Cut that out.
And
I don't know if we're going to be able to keep any of these in. I'm going to keep them in,
yeah,
but we might expect cease and desist.
from Sharky and George.
Yeah.
Sharky is very litigious.
I think the biggest one from our era, because we were young with some of these, but is Arthur, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can't remember how it
We've
goes.
done that before on this
Have we?
podcast.
Yeah.
I can't
And
remember how
I
it goes
say,
now. I'll just
hey,
say, hey,
what a wonderful kind of day.
Hey.
All right, carry on.
Let's
Liam.
get back to Crush by Jennifer Page. But I do have another fun fact about this song. There's a story behind it. Do you know about this?
Well, I imagine it's that she had a crush on
Crush.
someone.
just a little.
Just a little crush.
Yeah, it was just only.
It was allegedly written for another musician who
Prince.
was around at the time.
Karate Kid.
How big of a fan of NSYNC were you?
Not very.
Could you name any of them apart from Justin Timberlake?
I was hoping you didn't say it. No, I can. There was another semi-famous one, wasn't there? When you say their name, I'm going to know it.
You might not. I don't know how famous he was. I'd never heard of him. No offence, Joey Fatoni, if you're listening. If you are listening, please
Joey
sponsor us.
I think it was that one because whenever I see his name, I think his name's Joey Fat One.
Yeah, I can see
Fatoni.
why you might think that.
Joey
Fatone.
Yeah.
Joey Fat Tony.
So this is according to songfacts.com, which have no references, so it could just
Liam,
be
you
made
can't
up.
plug your own website.
But so according to sunfacts.com, Jennifer Page was once spotted with a Superman ring. And this is apparently notable because Joey Fatone was a known collector of Superman memorabilia and allegedly claimed it was her engagement ring.
Is this like the Frankie and Eamon situation where she claims she's never even met him?
It does seem like the sort of thing that there was like some sort of media outlet that were really clutching at straws and they were just like, yeah, let's go with that.
This is
National
ridiculous.
Enquirer.
I bet his sex was whack as well.
The main theme of the song is that obviously Jennifer Page has a bit of a crush on someone, but the other person is taking it far too seriously. And she's like, just calm down a bit. So, other snippets include, please don't make too much of it, baby. And it's not like we have a date with Destiny.
So she's saying, I've got a crush on you, but it's not really a big crush.
She's saying it's just a little crush, chill.
Okay, so the advice there would be tell your crush that you've got a little crush on them, but kind of downplay it. It's like when people say, oh, imagine if we had sex. I'm only joking.
But do you want it?
Yeah.
Don't answer that.
So it's kind of like that, isn't it?
Have you used that before?
I use it on my wife every week.
Well, I think what I'd take from it is don't expect too much from it, and you might both have fun. But if one of you feels stronger than the other, then you might end up writing a passive-aggressive song about it.
Yeah. Or
Is it
just play it
passive-aggressive?
off. Oh, it was only a little crush anyway. I was joking.
Just a little crush. Crush.
Okay, well, I'm gonna keep it kind of open as well. I'm gonna lead you to Where Rainbows End by Cecilia Ahern. It's also known as Love Rosie. I think it was released in America as that. Published by HarperCollins. It's an epistolary novel. Remember when I taught you about Romana Clefs, Carl?
Yeah.
I'm going to teach you about a new kind of novel
What
today.
was a Romana Clef, Carl?
What does Romana Clef mean in French?
I don't listen to the podcast back. I wouldn't know.
To be fair, I didn't say it in the other episode. It means novel with a key.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Okay.
Okay, so an epistolary novel is a novel that's written in the form of letters, emails, instant messages.
Like
So it's
Sherlock Holmes.
maybe. Well, I don't want to commit myself to that either way. What I'm going to say is this one is written in the form of letters, emails, instant messages.
Adrian Mole.
Yep. Diary entries.
Is it? There you go.
Have you never read Adrian Mole?
No, I haven't. I haven't read any books, Liam.
He just writes them.
So this is a typical rom-com style story. Rosie and Alex have been friends since childhood. They've got great chemistry. They get on well. They're both a bit sexy looking. There's a film. This was adapted into a film, but it was starring Sam Claflin. Is that his name? Anyway, so they're both very good looking. They'd be a great match. But like you, Marvin, they fear they'd ruin their friendship if they went for it. So they don't get together. They find other people. They move away, but they stay in touch over long distances. But it seems like they'll never get a chance to get together again. But eventually, the stars align, and they finally realise that they were meant for each other all along. Now, there's two ways you could take a story like this. Maybe they were always made for each other, and it always would have worked. In which case, you don't want to waste much time, do you? You might as well make most of a love like that ASAP. Or maybe it was all of those years of will they, won't they, moving away and keeping in touch over long distances, which gave their love the foundation it needed. Maybe it wouldn't have worked if they'd have got together earlier because they needed those intervening years and experiences to teach them what they needed and how to make the most of each other. So, what does that mean for you, Marvin? Well, I don't know. Choose which of those interpretations you prefer and do what feels right, I suppose. Either go for it now or just wait a while. Give it some time. See if the crush either fades or if it gets stronger.
Well, Friends with Benefits, 2011.
No, thanks.
Would you like to be a friend with benefit in 2011?
Only that year.
We can go back in time and...
Directed by William Gluck. So they are platonic friends, Mila Kunis and Justin Timberlake. Second time he's mentioned on the pod today.
If you're listening, Justin, big fan.
Yeah, they're just friends. Like they meet in a professional setting. I think Mila Kunis is like a recruiter. It's so like not sexy the way they meet, and she gets him a job. And they start having a good friendship. They go out drinking, and one night they think, you know what? We both think we're attractive people. Let's just have casual sex. No strings attached. They agree that there shouldn't always be emotion attached to it. But guess what happens?
Uh-oh.
Oh no, emotion gets attached to it. Oh no.
The one thing they didn't want.
So they kind of fall for each other. It's quite obvious they do, but they keep it platonic. And then Mila Kunis meets Justin Timberlake's family, who, guess what? They absolutely love her. And they think, oh, she's so perfect. But then Justin Timberlake says she's damaged. And she overhears it.
What a bastard.
Innit? So she ends...
No wonder he was kicked out of NSYNC.
I know, bastard. Oh, love you, JT. And so they go their separate ways completely. And things happen. And they end up realising they're soulmates. And the film ends with a flash mob at Grand Central Station. So...
Do they like sing a song?
Other people dance and they kiss. They're trying to say, let's not attach emotion to it. So the only problem you got, Marvin, is that you don't know that the person you have a crush on has a crush back. So you can't necessarily say, do you want to have sex, see what happens? Because you might say, no. And that will ruin the friendship. So,
But as we've established, you can just go, I was only joking.
yeah.
You fell for it.
But I think this is the thing, though.
They're tried and tested.
It might work out well for you, but there's also a chance it might not. And I think you've got to think about how much you value that friendship. There's a song from 2019. I think this is the most recent example of a song I've done on the podcast so far.
Is it on the folk song list?
It's certainly not. This is a song by an artist called Celeste, called Strange, released last year. Am I dating us too much if I say that? In 2019. And yeah, Celeste presents this cautionary tale in a hauntingly beautiful song. I really like the song. It's great.
I've never heard of it. Was it in the charts?
It was on like those Radio 1 like new music shows, so a fair bit. I don't know if it was in the charts, but if you don't listen to like that sort of thing, you probably wouldn't have heard it.
Yeah, I don't listen to music. I refuse.
He doesn't read books, listen to music, watch films.
It's the devil's plaything. That's how the devil gets you.
But the song's about a relationship that blossomed from a friendship, but ultimately ended completely. And interesting, well, I thought it was interesting, fact about this song.
You just can't commit to anything.
Was that she performed it for the very first time at a BBC Music introducing concert in February 2019. So like, she'd never performed it to anyone, and the first time she did it was at this like big BBC concert. It's quite brave, really, isn't it?
Who said that? She said that it was the first time.
Yes, she did.
Because I always doubt these claims. It's like when people go on Bake Off and they say, this is the first time I've made this. And it's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
You've definitely practiced this.
I've never made Viennese meringue before. And then it's perfect. Like,
Yeah.
bollocks.
It's I think it's people giving themselves an excuse to fail. If this goes badly, this is the first time I did it. It's like the joke thing. I was only joking.
I love to believe that Celine Dion did My Heart Will Go On in one take, though.
Is that what people say?
Yeah.
Ah.
Can you imagine walking in
Celine
there?
Dion can do no wrong.
Exactly.
That's
so
the old rhyme. So I reckon she did.
But if you practiced enough, how hard is it to do something in one take? That's what I always think.
Yeah.
You know,
We do this
you're a
podcast in one take.
Yeah. It's perfect.
Yeah,
Well,
Mic
this goes.
drop.
no one can tell.
I think most of the time they can hear the mic drop. Boom, boom, boom. Anyway, sorry, Liam, we interrupted.
So back to the song "Strange" by Celeste. I think there's a really kind of poignant lyric that pretty much points out the danger here, and it's the chorus of the song. It goes, "Isn't it strange how people can change from strangers to friends, friends into lovers, then strangers again?" And it's deep, cuts me deep every time I hear it.
I think I might have heard this song. After this podcast, we'll listen to it. Maybe this can be your recommendation. I'm not trying to influence you.
It might be, to be honest.
We'll see at the end of the
It's
episode.
the only good song he's got.
We've got to keep our listeners listening to the end of the episode, so wait till later to see what Liam's recommendation is.
Coming up.
But I think I will listen to it and see if I know it.
So yeah, be careful. You might up.
You might up, you might down.
You might end up lamenting the loss of a good friend if things don't turn out well.
But Marvin's already recognised that.
Yeah, but it doesn't hurt to be warned twice, Carl. I'm going to warn you as well. Maybe. Marvin, I'm just going to give you some food for thought. in the form of Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte.
Should we sing this as well?
Later. It's tune though, isn't it? Massive
Can anyone
tune.
get to that note? Can you do that note? You'll be the only one possible, Liam.
I don't think I know the song well enough. That's pretty good.
That was amazing.
Heathcliff is an orphan who is adopted by Mr. Earnshaw, and he's treated better than the Earnshaw's real children, Hindley and Catherine. When Daddy Earnshaw dies, Hindley inherits Wuthering Heights and allows Heathcliff to stay.
I much prefer Kate Bush to Morrissey, I've got to say.
But he only lets him stay as a servant, and he treats Heathcliff very badly. Catherine and Heathcliff are obviously in love, but Catherine gets engaged to someone else called Edgar Linton because he has the correct social standing, and Heathcliff doesn't. So Heathcliff runs off in a strop, and Catherine falls ill with grief over losing him because he's gone away. Edgar and Catherine marry, and Heathcliff returns 3 years later as a wealthy gentleman. So I'm going to cut out some intervening details, and Edgar gets pissed off with him hanging around all the time, and he cuts off contact. And Catherine is so distraught about it that she locks herself in her room and never recovers.
Oh.
And she dies after giving birth to a daughter. I'm sorry for all these spoilers, guys, but this novel is literally hundreds of years old, so get with the programme. Heathcliff calls upon her ghost to haunt him for as long as he lives, ends up refusing to eat, and dies in Catherine's old room. Yeah, all these old novels are really depressing, weren't they?
Not the one I've got to talk about.
Anyway, now I'm sure there are 100 lessons to be learnt from Wuthering Heights.
Could you pick out a couple?
I think the lesson we can take from it... Oh, that was a mid-sentence hiccup. Oh, I'm so overcome with emotion. The lesson we can take is that if Heathcliff and Catherine had just gone for it, maybe they would have avoided all this drama and sadness and lived happily ever after. Because, you know, they would have cut out all the marrying someone else, being distraught over leaving and blah, blah, blah. But you really don't know unless you go for it, do you? So I think the advice I can give you from this, Marvin, is that the last thing you should do is let your crush's ghost haunt you forever.
That is definitely the wrong thing to do.
Yeah, you don't want that.
And sticking on the period piece, well, this isn't period because it's modern, but
That's the opposite.
1996 is Emma, directed by Douglas McGrath. Also, 1995 Clueless, directed by Amy Heckerling. So Clueless is based on Emma, which is a Jane Austen novel. So the social standing bit you said was interesting because this is all about Emma Woodhouse is trying to matchmake people and is terrible at it but thinks she's good at it. So she prides herself on setting up her governess with someone.
The governess from The Chase.
Yeah, Anne Haggerty, whatever her name is. And in Clueless, Cher, she sets up two teachers. So they both think, oh, I'm really good at this and it's fun. I'm going to do this like professionally, if you like.
Like Cilla Black did.
Exactly, yeah.
Another banging theme tune.
You just don't know when to stop, do you, Carl?
So both characters have a relationship with like an older guy. In Clueless, it's a guy at college called Josh. Emma, she's landed gentry, by the way, and also Cher in Clueless is kind of rich, like her dad's a lawyer. So it's like the feeling is that Jane Austen was trying to get across is the only thing they've got to do is meddle in other people's business.
Yeah.
Because they're just bored, and that's
Rich and bored.
Rich and bored. Emma has Mr. Knightley, who's like a family friend, comes over now and again, he's very handsome. You know, we like a bit of Mr. Knightley. But so she thinks she's doing a good thing. She takes someone under her wing. It's Harriet in Emma and Ty in Clueless. And she's like, she persuades him to get rid of the guy she's seeing, who's a fun, kind of nice guy, clever, but no social standing in both periods. And she tries to get her to go out with someone else. But she's ruining something that's like a good thing. So Harriet and Ty meant this person's perfect for them, but she tries to persuade them that they're not. You should be with someone better. And so, these things happen, as we know.
I'm liking the new theme.
Emma and Cher, they have someone in mind to be their boyfriend or husband, who's a bit of a playboy, fashionista, type of guy. He turns out to be a right cock. And she's like, oh, he's a right cock.
It sounds like they could have seen it coming a mile off.
Yeah. And then Ty/Harriet fancies Mr. Knightley/Josh and says to Emma/Cher, I'd like to, try it with him. And then she realises, hold on a minute, Emma/Cher really likes Josh/Mr. Knightley, and she wants Harriet/Ty.
I am so confused.
To log off. So the point of the whole thing, after all the things have happened, is that it kind of blows up in her face. She's made to look stupid because she's setting up the wrong people. Harriet should have been with George Martin. And then because someone else fancies Mr. Knightley/Josh, she thinks, actually, he's the one for me. And then they get married. And so the right person was there all along, except they made it really complicated. So maybe the fact that you've got a crush, maybe you're really good friends, I think, like Aaron said, it's worth exploring. And maybe even just say, what do you think we'd be like together? And test the water.
Yeah.
So when they say no, you can say, I'm only joking.
Yeah. I think that's our top tactic, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's how I proposed.
But you're a little
anyway.
weasel about it.
How long, if he does want to go with that method, how long is it before there's no opportunity to say I'm only joking?
10 years down the line.
I'm
only joking. Let's get divorced. Did you follow the Emma Clueless plotline?
Not really, because of all the different names you used, but when I listen back, if the listeners have listened to this episode twice, then they'll get it.
Yeah, I should say, maybe Aaron can paste this in before, but get a pen and paper ready and write this down.
Or just read the book. Watch the film. Watch
film.
both films.
Watch both films, read the book.
All right. So are we running out of material? Have we got... Our advice seems to be...
We're pretty consistent, aren't we?
Yeah.
Give it a go.
Maybe we need some contrary viewpoints.
Well, if you do give it a go, it depends how you do it, but you could ruin it forever, so maybe don't give it a go.
Yeah, I think from music it was more just be a bit careful, because
It's the Liam way.
if it ruins your friendship, it might not be worth it. If you don't really care about the friendship, then it might be worth it.
That's very true.
That definitely is the Liam way, isn't it? Maybe do it, maybe don't.
Well, only you know what's going to make you happy.
Problems. We all got 'em. Problems. We all got 'em. Problems. We all got 'em. So let's try and solve some problems.
All right, let's move on to problem 2. A couple of years ago, I had a small near-death experience, which made me realise that I should grab life and make every day count. However, I quickly fell into my same old routine, and now, 2 years later, I realise that I still haven't grabbed life. I don't even know what big thing I want to do to grab life. I've never had a hobby I could take to the next level, and I don't really have any great interests. Tell me, how do I go about grabbing life and making every day count? This podcast was an attempt at grabbing life, wasn't it? For the listeners at home, I'm going to open my heart up to the listeners, guys.
I thought it was just a last-ditch attempt to save our friendship.
Well, it's that as well.
It's not working.
We had this idea last year, at the end of 2019. I forgot what year it was then. And because of COVID and lockdown, we ended up not being able to do anything for a while this year, at the beginning of this year. And then we met up and started actually recording it. Most of the time, these things are wouldn't it be good if you blah, blah, blah. And then you go, I'm only joking. And you don't do it because you're scared of failing, just like the only joking thing. Yeah. But this time we've just gone for it, haven't we? You only live once. You might as well meet up. And as you say, maybe we'll save our friendships in the process.
I said to you guys, we recorded a pilot, didn't we? And I said, if we don't do anything else, at least we did it. We did something, you know? So you are right. It's nice that we're doing something that we conceived.
Yeah.
For sure.
So we can understand where this person's coming from, basically.
Yeah.
So Come on, examples. Give it to them.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, wait a
let's
minute.
get
Let's
into
think of a
examples.
name for them.
Oh, yeah. Who struggles to grab life?
Miss Havisham. She sits in a room looking at a cake rotting all day.
Though, can we?
Yeah, why not?
What's her first name?
Estella, isn't it?
In fact, let's call her Missy.
Well, like, we were talking about our friendship a minute ago, and we all, well, at least two of us met in the 90s. And I think if you're after some unbridled enthusiasm and optimism, the 90s is a good place to go. Back in 1999, there was a rather popular group, in the UK at least, by the name of S Club 7,
Oh,
who I think this is probably their biggest hit. I don't know, you might disagree. Bring It All Back.
they're all massive hits, aren't they?
They're all pretty big at the time.
Reach,
What about-
Esca Party,
Yeah, it's Club Party. Reach. Reach.
their Christmas one.
Yeah, go on.
I can't think of it. It's really good though.
You should have spoke about that one last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, Christmas is over, Carl.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
definitely gonna listen to that song though.
I mean, I don't think there's a great deal to say about the song. It speaks for itself, really. It's incredibly upbeat. Some would say hideously upbeat. It's
Hideously so.
This song is so positive.
it's full of, feel good, empowering lyrics that might help you feel a bit better about life. Interesting fact, according to Wikipedia, it's the only song on which all four of the girls shared the lead vocal.
Can you share a lead vocal?
In that they sang a little bit each, is what it means. And there's the obvious line from the chorus: "Don't stop, never give up, hold your head high and reach the top." You can't say it without singing the next verse in your head, can you?
Bring it all back to you.
Bring it all back now.
What's your favourite S Club 7 member?
It's got to be Bradley, isn't it?
Yeah, but Joe's got the flow.
Yeah, what's
Bradley
Bradley?
got?
Bradley swings. You want to see Bradley swing? Want to see
Was he
Rachel
boxer?
do her thing?
She's my favourite.
What's she doing?
Just her own thing.
She's just getting on with life, doing the housework.
Yeah, she's not even part of the group.
She's
Guys, can you start pulling your weight? Bradley, can you stop swinging?
And the other lyric from the song, I think, well, I mean, there's a few, but the other one that's I think is relevant here is: "Imagination is the key, because you are your own destiny." And it goes back to what did we say his name was?
Mrs. Havisham. Missy Havisham.
Missy Havisham. It goes back to what Missy was saying about hobbies.
So we done that.
Try and use your imagination and find new things to enjoy. If you don't really know your what existing hobbies you can exploit, as you put it so weirdly, because as we said earlier for the last question, only you know what makes you happy. What I mean is, if you're asking strangers to tell you what to do that will make you happy, you're probably
That's
going to
what our
have a
whole
harder
premise is
time.
about, Liam. So let's.
Yeah, we don't want to do ourselves out of a job.
Basically, can you stop writing into us because we don't know the answer?
Only you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm going to elaborate on that. I'm going to extend that point through the medium of
Interpretive dance.
This is lovely. Oh, he's on the floor now.
no, through Cocaine Nights by J.G. Ballard.
I'm glad that's a book and not a suggestion.
The story is that Frank Prentice is imprisoned and accused of murdering a family by burning their house down with them in it. And his brother Charles, knowing that his brother would never do anything like that, he flies out to Estrella de Mar to free him. And in the course of his investigation into what actually happened, he meets Bobby Crawford, a lovable rogue who literally burgles and vandalizes property all over the town to wake people up. Because he says that TV is turning everyone into zombies and that no one wants to do anything interesting anymore because we're all brainwashed and lobotomized by technology. So he steals their tellies and smashes their property and stuff to break them out of their stupors. I think he also likes to set fire to things. Suspicious. There's a deeper conspiracy than that, and some pretty weird content, to be honest. But the point is that Bobby Crawford's drive to destroy and cause chaos is absolutely tireless. And in the book, he's like rabid about it. And whether or not you agree with his outlook or his methods, it's because he has a cause that he's passionate about. And he really thinks needs fixing. So maybe, as Liam says, only you know what makes you happy. But
don't
maybe
burn down people's houses.
don't burn down people's houses. But maybe what you're missing isn't just a hobby or something to do to grab life, but a reason to grab it. A cause that really makes you feel passionate that you need to, fight for. Maybe if you found that, you'd know exactly what to do to make every day count. So what I'm saying is stop looking for a hobby to fill your time and instead look for something to be passionate about, and the hobby and the grabbing life will follow, because once you're passionate about something, you know what to do to pursue it, don't you?
That is very true.
I think I agree with the sentiment. It was a very weird journey to get to that end point, I think.
Sit and swivel.
The film that immediately sprang to mind with this one was The Secret Life of Walter Mitty from 2013, directed by Ben Stiller, also starring.
It was based on an old film, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a short story by James Gruber in 1939. Liam, very, very good.
Hans Gruber.
Hans Gruber, yeah, the Christmas character, the Grinch. And this film promises a lot and is about exactly what we're talking about, but doesn't really deliver any solutions.
What does Walter Mitty do to grab life?
So he's like he's doing quite a cool job, but it's menial. He develops negatives for Life magazine. And he's because he works closely with this world famous photographer called Sean O'Connell, they're kind of friends. And Sean sends him his latest batch, and it's also they're discontinuing Life magazine in print, so he sends the final photo for the front page, but it's missing. He says number 25 is the quintessence of life, and he can't find it in this batch, and he thinks he's lost it. He thinks he's going to get fired, so he starts following this guy basically all over the world to try and see if he's still got it. Also, Sean has sent him a wallet as a present. And guess what? He doesn't look in the wallet for the
it's in there.
And which is at home.
That was a major spoiler.
Sorry. And he ends up in Greenland. He longboards down a volcano. I should say also, Walter's he daydreams a lot about doing adventurous stuff, but never does it. Like, he fancies his girl, he daydreams being with her, but never takes the plunge to ask her out, things like that. So this is a big move for him to actually go and do something. Grab life.
Ready for my big move.
He's ready for his big move.
So he actually does it. It's not like an open-ended, did
No.
he really do it?
Yeah, it's not as... It doesn't try to be that clever, which would be really annoying, if you find out he didn't actually do it. But actually, he doesn't find him, and he gets called back to New York. He has to admit that he's lost it. He gets fired, I think. But then he goes back to his mum's house, and he's had the wallet there. She's thrown the wallet in the bin. But then she finds the wallet, gets it out of the bin, and he finds a negative in there. And it's Walter Mitty sitting outside Life magazine, reading a magazine. So really, this film's a lot of segments, a lot of lovely scenery. I like the idea of it.
But it didn't deliver.
Not really. You don't get thinking, I'm going to grab life. But I think it's meant to say that. But I think you can still take a message from it, because then Walter, his adventures teach him to kind of, start that he can do it. He can go out and do things. He doesn't have to just daydream about them. I don't feel exactly what Aaron said. Life isn't going to come at you. Opportunities aren't going to. They do sometimes come along, but the more you do, the more scope there is for opportunity to come along to grab life. So start doing things, and then maybe you'll find your niche.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm going to suggest. I'm just going to suggest an activity for you, and I don't want to introduce more competition into my field, but I'm not exactly a forerunner in my field anyway. So I think I can afford it. Why not take up writing, Missy? And my book suggestions for the rest of this problem are just going to be books about writing, so that you can... On Writing by Stephen King.
You can't do that again. Sorry.
Too late. Amazing book. Brilliant
It's all right,
book
he's
about
read it.
writing.
So Liam's read it. Liam loves it as well. Oh my God.
Bird by Bird, Some Instructions on Writing and Life by Anne Lamott. Sorry, Anne. Not only practical writing advice, but also personal experiences from the life of a writer, just like On Writing was. Writing Down the Bones, Freeing the Writer Within by Natalie Goldberg. Also, more of the same. So, I've given you all those suggestions, and if you're listening to that and thinking, that doesn't really sound like my thing, then maybe you already have an idea of what is your thing. Like if someone says to you, do you want a ham sandwich? And you think, I'd rather peanut butter. Maybe you're thinking, Missy, I don't want to write, I'd rather surf. Then you know what to do, Missy. You have at least crossed one item off the list, which is writing. So you can just do a process of elimination. Every activity in life, one by one. That's my suggestion. There you go.
I like it.
I'm done. Mic drop.
I think I've got a bit more practical advice for you as well.
Keep it
if you need it. So we're still in the 90s, if you remember. We love the 90s for optimism and things like that. So back in 1994, the same year that Mariah Carey was releasing All I Want for Christmas Is You and E07 were releasing Stay Another Day, as you might know if you'd listened to the Christmas special, there was an artist called Des'ree. So in 94, Des'ree released a hit song, You Gotta Be. Des'ree's known for her positive outlook and chirpy, upbeat songs. And she's got some pretty strong practical advice in this one. Do you guys know this song?
You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser.
I just had a memory flood back of me and my mum making up a dance to this.
Last week.
Yeah.
So Aaron, you've named 3 things that you got to be. Can you name the other 5?
Pop quiz.
You got to be hard, you got to be tough, you got to be stronger.
Yeah, that's 6.
You got to be cool, you got to be calm. You got to stick together.
That's 9. But yeah, no, she's got advice for you. You know, if you've got to be these things in life. If you want to get what you want, is what Des'ree's saying.
All that she wants is another baby.
And
That's the different song, Carl.
you can't always get what you want.
That's the Rolling Stones. There's other notable pieces of advice from the song as well. In the second verse, I think, she says, herald what your mother said and read the books your father read. Aaron will like that one.
On Writing by Stephen King.
And fun fact about Des'ree, did you know she won a Brit Award in 1999 for Best British Female?
No. Is that a fun fact?
And that's 5 years after her only big song. She got more, I don't know.
Someone has to win it every year, so is it a fun fact when someone wins an award?
No disrespect to Des'ree, I didn't think she was...
Oh, it's a fun fact because she's shit. Is that what you're saying?
I didn't think she was that kind of, established an artist, but for her to win a Brit Award, she must have been
What did she
well
release
thought of.
in 99 then?
Well, so, Carl, here's the thing. When I was thinking about songs that might give good advice on life, I'm going to be honest, You Gotta Be by Des'ree wasn't the first Des'ree song that popped to mind.
Really?
There's another song by Des'ree from 1998 called Life.
Oh, life.
Oh, one.
Carl thought it was a different song.
Hey, I'm doing One Night in Heaven. One Night in Heaven.
So Life was her highest charting hit in the UK. I don't know if it got to number 1, but it did a lot better than You Gotta Be. And I thought, given her reputation, this song was bound to have some really good positive messages about how best to enjoy life. I was a little bit wrong about that. And don't get me wrong, musically, it's a good song. It's catchy, it's well arranged. It's got a cool sequence. It's not particularly interesting, but it's decent enough.
It ticks some of the Liam boxes of a good song.
It's
This feels like a roast of Des'ree, hosted by Liam.
It's
absolutely tearing apart her.
It's the lyrics that are a little bit of a problem. They're pretty bad.
I've got a personal highlight. You might have it written down, but this is what I always think about when I think about Life by Des'ree. I don't want to see a ghost. It's a sight that I fear most. I'd rather have a piece of toast.
That is not a lyric.
Yeah.
And watch the evening news. That's how it
Yeah.
ends. That lyric in 2007 won a BBC poll for the worst pop music lyric of all time.
That's good, because it should have. And I think we should probably point out, no disrespect to you, Des'ree, because you're a better singer more successful singer than any of us will ever be, especially based on the examples we've given so far.
And a more successful songwriter.
Yeah. So, we're not saying you are shit, although we've made jokes about you being shit.
I don't think she's going to listen or care.
She might listen and she might care, Carl. I don't want to hurt people's
imagine
feelings,
we-
and she is good.
If we reach Des'ree in our listenership,
We will have
we've made
succeeded.
it. I will be so happy.
Yeah.
But as an artist, I don't think she's bad. You Gotta Be, I think it's a great song. It's just the lyrics to life are just a bit weird. There's another highlight, which is I'm afraid of the dark, especially when I'm in a park.
This sounds like a rap I wrote when I was 8.
Yeah, it's got that sort of vibe, hasn't it? But I mean, on the subject of bad lyrics, are there any lyrics that kind of stick out for you as
A lyric that always, whenever people talk about lyrics, one that always comes up for me is a misheard lyric. You know, in the Shania Twain song, That Don't Impress Me Much. Yeah, when she says, I can't believe you kiss your car goodnight. I always thought when I was a kid that that's kiss your cock at night.
Yeah.
That's what I always think about. Why? Have you got one in mind?
Well, there's a
the
song,
worst lyric of all time.
There's a song that I always think of. So Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park did a solo project called Fault Minor, and the single off the album was called Petrified, which is a pretty good song. But one of the lyrics in it goes, "Listen, you are not ready. Like children in a building, you can't stand steady." And every time I hear it, I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
I've got two that spring to mind. First is Eminem. Now I get to see you leave out the
window. That's why they call it window pane.
Yeah. And
From,
Rhythm is the dancer.
That's the way you lie, innit?
Yeah. Rhythm is the dancer. I'm as serious as cancer. What I say, rhythm is a dancer.
So that is number 2 on the BBC worst popular music lyrics of all time. Number 3, I thought this quite interesting. It's from a Razorlight song called Somewhere Else, which was released in 2005. And the lyric is, I met a girl, she asked me my name, and I told her what it was.
That's great advice.
Yeah, what that reminds me of is the Electric Six song, and this is deliberately bad because it's Electric Six, but where the song begins, I was walking down the street, you were just across the street, so I had to cross the street to get to your side of the street. Yeah.
That's a great gimmick to have, like, we do bad lyrics. Yeah. Like, you just get away with anything then, can't you? Yeah, brilliant.
So what was the point?
Well,
Sorry? It was life.
We went
is
on a
really
big
bad,
tangent
but-
about bad
yeah,
lyrics.
Let's circle back to Desiree. You've got to be loads of things to be successful.
Yeah, be
right?
bad, be bold, be wiser, be hard, be tough, be stronger, be cool, be calm, be together, and love will save the day.
Brilliant. Excellent.
Something else you can do. Have you got something, Aaron? Or should I? No.
I exhausted it with On Writing by Stephen King.
Stephen King, if you're listening.
I'm paid per mention, so I just want to mention On Writing by Stephen King. By the way, I'm not being paid. I'm open to offers.
You could just watch something that makes you feel like you need to seize the day a lot. 2012's The Impossible, directed by J.A. Bayona. Do you know this film about the tsunami in Thailand?
What's it called?
The Impossible.
Oh, I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
It's funny because it's got Ewan McGregor, Naomi Watts, and Tom Holland in it. But it's a Spanish film, filmed in the English language. Didn't know that.
Do they speak Spanish?
No.
Oh, no, it's filmed in the English language. I realise what you
Yeah,
meant.
that means they talk English. And it's about the Bennett family's plight during the 2004 tsunami, which was obviously horrific. And you can't believe they survived it when you watch it. You watch it like gritting your teeth through your hands. It's like
Gritting your teeth through your hand. We want our listeners just to picture that.
there'll be a picture in the show notes. So yeah, it will definitely make you feel like you love life because it could end in a big tsunami at any time.
Yeah, I think whenever you hear about like people at work or friends of friends or whatever, people dying early, or as this Missy Havisham has been through a near-death experience, stuff like that, you always think, God, life is so fragile, isn't it? I really need to make every day count. And as Missy says, 2 or 3 days later, you've forgotten about it, and I don't think we've provided much help, guys.
I think life is full of mundane distractions that things you need to do every day.
Life gets in the way, doesn't it? Life
And that's what you need.
gets in the way. Yeah, no, it does. And time just goes, doesn't it? I've spent so much time playing Fall Guys or Crash 4 now. When I could have been doing something like, I'm working on a novel that I've been working on for about 3 years now. And I was like, my last one took me 3 years as well. And I thought, I'm not going to do that again. I'm just going to write it, just get it out there. But then you reach a difficult bit and you go, oh, I don't know how to write this at the moment. I'll put it down. I haven't picked it up for about the last 4 months.
When are you going to finish Winds of Winter, Aaron?
I don't think I am. I think I'll die before it comes out.
I just want to give a shout out to another film, 2007's Enchanted, directed by Kevin Lima. It's a Disney film. It's the one that's a cartoon then turns into live action.
I've been dreaming of a true love's kiss.
Is that it?
Is that your song highlight from Enchanted? Not how does she know that you love her?
I mean, there's some pretty good songs in it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's a fantastic film.
Yeah, this is why I want to mention it, because it's hilarious. It's so light-hearted, but it starts off with the princess. What's her name?
Oh, I can't remember.
Amy Adams.
Yeah,
Princess Amy Adams.
I love Amy Adams so much.
She's trying to be killed by like a wicked witch queen in like loads of different ways, and then ends up falling down a well into the real world. Well, she's trying to kill her. Basically.
Isn't Adina Menzel in it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you mean
Adele
Adele
Dazeem.
Dazeem.
Yeah, sorry.
So yeah, she has a few near-death experiences, but sees his life every single day with
Yeah,
her little
that's
bird
true.
friends and stuff.
And people think she's crazy in the film because she's like a Disney princess who is in a dream world of happiness but maybe we should all be living like that.
Yeah, why not?
I think that's a fantastic example, Carl. Well done. I love a bit of
I
enchantment.
got a shout out to my wife and your wife that helped me come up with that one.
The wife team.
They're the writers behind this. How are we wrapping up? What's our advice?
Well, we're not
it's-
committing. We're not committing to any
No,
advice as usual.
I'm committing
but
to
Whoa.
listen to Desiree,
Listen to this.
Listen to Desiree.
but not live.
Find your passion and watch films that make you feel alive.
A ranger came arranging to Old Town one fine day. The townsfolk came to meet him. They heard what he had to say. He said, I hear this town's got problems, some outlaws on the run, and I've come to solve these problems with my problem gun. Word soon got to these outlaws about a ranger new in town, and they soon came out of hiding to put this ranger down. They laughed when they first saw him beneath the high noon sun, but he soon stopped them from laughing with his problem gun. Problem gun, problem gun. Yeah, the ranger solved their problems with his problem gun.
Shall we move on to problem 3? I've got a new girlfriend who I am absolutely crazy about. I'm pretty sure she's mad about me too. We get on great, have loads of fun, and I've never been in a relationship this happy. However, her mum and dad seem not to be that fond of me, and no matter what I do, I can't seem to get them to like me. I can't see myself being a big part of her life if her family don't like me. So how do I get in their good books? We're all pretty close to our in-laws, aren't we? We're charmers as well, especially you, Carl. You flirt with everyone, so
yeah.
if you flirt with your mother-in-law, she loves you, doesn't she? It's Carl's oldest tactic. All the mother-in-laws he's had.
Flirt with everyone. But from my and Liam's perspective in particular, like I've been with my wife in some capacity for 14 years.
How many capacities have you been with your wife in?
Like girlfriend, fiance,
Oh, okay.
wife.
Oh yeah, we should maybe. Are you ready to be outed on the podcast?
For what?
Carl had a system in his head where these all the things he just named were levels of relationship: girlfriend, fiance, wife. And if he did something bad and she wanted to split up with him, rather than the relationship just ending, he'd get downgraded.
I think that's a really good way of doing things.
Once she's his wife, if he does something that makes him divorceable now, he'll just go back to fiance.
Oh, so you get divorced, but then you get engaged immediately afterwards.
Yeah, contemporaneously. Don't you think that'd be such a better system? Like, you know, you don't commit to just ending it. See how it...
Everyone deserves a second chance.
Exactly.
You're right. Yeah.
My,
It rewards consistency, doesn't it? That's what it does.
I had a friend that said a marriage contract should be a lot like a mortgage that's reviewable every 5 years.
That's a pessimistic outlook.
So my point was, I've known my in-laws for 14 years, and so like I've known them like nearly half my life. So you need to. It's very important to win them over if you want a future, really.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
I think I'm in exceptional circumstances because my parents and my in-laws knew each other before I was even born.
Oh, really? Were you in an arranged marriage?
I don't know. I do wonder sometimes.
I didn't know that, Liam. Well, I'll start the art deluge.
Arts, darling.
Yes, for this one, because I haven't started. I keep fobbing it off on you two, so I haven't started in a while. So here it goes. And I've been looking for an excuse to use a book by Cormac McCarthy for the whole series, so I'm so happy that this one came up. Cormac McCarthy wrote
No Country for Old Men.
No Country for Old Men.
Aaron loves that.
On the Road.
Top 5 films ever, not On the Road. That was Jack Kerouac.
Was it?
Kerouac, yeah.
Oh, damn.
The Road.
The
was
Road.
by
Gotcha.
Cormac McCarthy, yeah. And he's excellent. He's a fantastic writer, as evidenced by those two books. They're so good. But that's not the one. Those aren't the ones I'm referencing now. All the Pretty Horses by Cormac McCarthy, published by Picador. Story is, here comes the story. You ready for the story? Prepare yourself for spoilers. John Grady Cole. Carl's put his hands in his ears. His whole hands. He's got huge ears.
He's got his hands in his ears through gritted teeth.
John Grady Cole grew up on his grandfather's ranch. He was raised by a Mexican family who work on the ranch. And when his granddad dies, the ranch is going to be sold, and rather than moving into town, he decides to ride with his friend, Lacey Rawlins, to Mexico. And they have a small amount of adventure on the way, and they end up working at a Mexican ranch, where John Grady Cole falls in love with the ranch owner's daughter, Alejandra. They begin an affair, a secret affair, which doesn't escape the attention of Alejandra's great aunt. She tells John Grady Cole that Alejandra can't afford to lose her honour, and she opposes their relationship. Much like, we haven't given this person a name.
What's the guy, Javier Bardem's name in No Country for Old Men? Do you want to know his name?
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
Anton Chigurh.
Chigurh.
Chigurh. Where do we go?
So
back
we're saying
to?
that. Anton. There you go, Anton. So Anton, much like you, John Grady Cole's in-laws don't approve of the relationship. Or so you think at the moment, based on their reaction to you. She tells him she opposes their relationship. Alejandra goes off to school in Mexico City. He and his friend are arrested, imprisoned, beaten, I think for the things they did earlier in the story, during what I kind of fobbed off as a small amount of adventure on the way down to Mexico.
Did things happen?
Yeah, things happen. But eventually, they're freed from this imprisonment by Alejandra's aunt, whose only condition in return is that Alejandra never sees John Grady Cole again. That's not the end of the story. But I'm not going to go any further because I don't want to spoil it, and I want you all to discover it for yourselves because it is an excellent book. The point is, if your partner is close to their family, then their opinions will always be important to her and to your relationship. And as you say, it might be impossible to have a lasting relationship without her family's approval. But perhaps you should also prepare yourself for never receiving that approval. Trying to win them over is all well and good, but what if, like Alejandra's aunt, their minds are made up and there's nothing you can do to change them? What then?
Well, maybe there is something you can do, Anton. In 1999, we're going to get out of the 90s eventually, but we need to take it gradually. So we're going to go to 1999 first. Shania Twain was preaching an important lesson in her hit "That Don't Impress Me Much," which has already been mentioned today.
Yes.
Totally unplanned.
Friend of the show, Shania Twain.
So, and the lesson is this: you might think you're the bee's knees and have it all, but sometimes other people don't share your ideas of what is important. So in That Don't Impress Me Much, Shania Twain talks about some men that she's, I think, implied that she's been with in the past. And she gives 3 examples Can you name the main flaws of the 3 men that she talks about in the song?
You kiss your cock at night.
He makes me take off my shoes before he lets me get in.
So you think you're Brad Pitt?
So, all right, yeah. So
Is that what you're saying? These bits?
these bits, yeah.
So being Brad Pitt is a flaw?
No,
Is
no,
that
no.
what you're saying?
The flaw is...
Oh, thinking you're Brad Pitt.
The flaw is that he loves himself. She says,
yeah.
all that extra hair gel in your hair... Sorry, all that extra hold gel in your hair ought to lock it, because heaven forbid it'd fall out of place.
Oh.
She's giving it some
Sassy.
sass in this
Yeah,
song.
she's she.
So that's one of them. This guy loves himself. He thinks he's Brad Pitt.
So turn to a rocket scientist?
Yep, so one of them's a smart ass. She says, you've got being right down to an art. Prick.
I think his response to that would be, we'll stop being wrong then.
And the other one, which you've already covered. What is this?
It's a dog.
Okay.
It's a local dog. Got the ice cream van and the dog.
The other one that you've already covered is this guy's...
Is that actually a dog? It sounds like something squeaking though. It's such a weird noise, and it's so regular.
It's a dog. It happens regularly.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I hope there's a good point at which I can cut this.
So the other one that you've already covered is this other guy's obsessed with his car. And she says, I can't believe you kiss your car goodnight.
Not a cock at night.
Not cock at night, no.
Can you do that, Liam?
What?
No, but I can during the day.
And yeah, like for all these things, she's saying, you know, I think you're all right, but that's not going to keep me warm in the middle of the long, cold lonely night.
stormy night. Oh, lonely night.
Still me.
And I can hear everyone shouting, what's the point? Well, the point is, your
That
girlfriend's... The point is, your girlfriend's parents are probably just want what's best for her. You know, it might be good to just have a little think about that and see if things that you think are really good are also genuinely good for her. And maybe try and find some ways to prove that you have more than just material merits to your character. I'm victim blaming again, but...
I like the solution to the victim blaming is just say, yeah, we are victim blaming.
Yeah, we're not going to stop.
We're just going to acknowledge it. What about Liam? What about if sometimes your in-laws are just pricks? Have you thought about that?
Have I thought about that? No.
Meet the Parents from 2000, directed by Jay Roach. It's basically your situation, Anton. Greg Fokker is a man. He's a male nurse, and he wants to get engaged to his girlfriend Pam. And he gets invited to Pam's sister's wedding, where he meets all of Pam's family, including the patriarch of the family, Robert De Niro. He's a former CIA employee who's suspicious of Greg and openly criticises him immediately for being a male nurse. Being part of the CIA or former CIA, he investigates Greg to make sure he's on the level. Finds out he's got no record of him. He's a liar. He's not who he says he is. It turns out it's because Greg's not his name. His name is
Freddie?
No, Gaylord.
Gaylord Fokker. That's right. Now, at this wedding or this wedding like weekend, Gaylord, Greg, doesn't really cover himself in glory because he gives the bride to be a broken nose and a black eye during a volleyball game. He floods the garden with sewage. He sets the wedding altar on fire, and he loses their beloved family cat and replaces her with a stray who he spray paints to look the same. So I think there's grounds to think this guy is no good.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Animal cruelty.
But that won't fit the
Dishonesty.
narrative. That's not going to fit the narrative I'm trying to tell here. So there's also a belief that all of Pam's family think that he was set up to fail. Like Jack was never going to accept him because he criticised him straight away, and he investigates him, doesn't trust him. So actually, what happens here is the family berate Jack for not giving Greg a chance, but he doesn't. But that's what changes Jack's mind. Greg doesn't win him over at all. He's just a complete shambles, to be honest. And it takes the family to say, give him a chance, and him to hear Pam talk to him on the phone and hear how much he means to Pam, for him to say, maybe I should give him a bit of a break. So maybe you don't need to do anything. Maybe you can't do anything. Maybe they just need to kind of like it and lump it. You're going to be in their life. It's up to them as well to say, you know what, maybe we should just let it be, kind of thing. That's a song, Liam.
I never knew much about Meet the Parents, but there was a sequel, wasn't there? Meet the Fockers.
Yeah.
And my granddad thought it was hilarious that there was a film called that. And so whenever I hear about it, it just reminds me of him. Because when that film was out, every time I saw him, it'd go, "Have you seen the fuckers?"
I loved your granddad.
Yeah, I'm going to give you an example, Carl, before you can use it.
Romeo and Juliet
There's a literary work called Romeo and Juliet. You might
by
have
Baz
heard
Luhrmann
it. By William Shakespeare.
in 1996.
Now everybody knows the story of this. Leonardo DiCaprio is from one side of the tracks and Claire Danes is from the other.
Yeah.
And they fall in love in what looks like Miami. And they do most of their flirting through fish tanks.
Fish what?
Fish tanks. And their parents are extremely unhappy.
Rival families.
Yeah.
Warring families.
See, we all know the story, don't we?
Isn't there a conspiracy theory?
That Shakespeare didn't write any of his plays.
Yeah.
And he's still alive as an undercover cop
in Peru.
with Tupac.
Yeah. That is definitely a conspiracy theory we can start. Well, how old would he be by now? Like 500 years old or something, wouldn't he? So, it's believable.
He's
got
also
the
a
money for it,
superhero. Yeah. Oh, can you imagine the royalties?
So what's the advice from this?
Well,
Go for it. Go for it anyway. Ignore the haters. Elope. It's not the best idea because they both end up dead. Spoilers.
I didn't. You know, you said we all know the story. I didn't quite know the ending. I know that they both die.
Spoilers.
Sorry, but I didn't know that Juliet.
I knew it was out 500 years ago, but
Just not got round to it.
Like I knew Juliet. I didn't know Juliet faked her own death,
yeah,
and then
In
Romeo
a-
thinks she's actually dead
in a canoe.
for the life insurance. Yeah.
So you're saying go for it.
Yeah, I'm not saying any of the faking your own death or anything.
No, we're
like
not
that.
saying anything to do with suicide. We're not
No.
suggesting is the way forward.
The bit that we're saying go for it, maybe, well, what you can take from Romeo and Juliet is that you could just go for it. Disregard your in-laws' opinion.
So I've already got one foot firmly in the camp of this isn't a problem. You need to listen to them. I'm going to go full in with both feet now, right? So in 1964, we're out of the 90s finally. Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons had a hit song called Dawn, in brackets, Go Away. Earlier I suggested to find ways of showing your true metal and proving you have her best interests at heart. And Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons give you a surefire way to do this. But it is a gamble. It's a big gamble. Dawn tells the story of a man who really thought a lot about his relationship and he's decided that he's just not good enough. His strategy is to say, you know what? You're right. I'm not good enough.
Negging.
Negging himself.
The chorus, Dawn, go away. I'm no good for you. And the family are mentioned too, similar to your problem. He says, we can't change the places where we were born. Before you say you love me, I want you to think what your family would say and think what you're throwing away.
They missed the opportunity because Born rhymes with dawn.
Yeah. Maybe Dawn was the line before that.
No, it wasn't. It's quite a tragic song, but I think it's a song that indicates a true unconditional love. I think it's a love worthy of Hollywood, if I'm being honest. It's a sort of love where, you love somebody with no concern for your own feelings, and in a rom-com, that would see you justly rewarded. Obviously, life's not a film, so if you think this option's a bit too risky, as Aaron says, you could just say, fuck him, I only visit him at Christmas.
Did you say that?
I don't think I did say
He didn't
that,
say the
but
Christmas part, but if you haven't listened to the Christmas special yet, it was only last week.
Keep plugging other episodes of your own
Yeah, I don't know what
podcast.
you're advertising other episodes. They're listening. They're here.
Yeah, and they're probably thinking, this one isn't great.
Stop trying to upsell me. I'm not even enjoying myself.
I think my sum up would be if you can win them over, great. But if you can't, maybe you never could. But it doesn't mean you're not meant to be with your missus.
Yeah, I think in that situation, I'd probably just
You'd probably just keep buying rounds of shots until they like you, wouldn't you?
yeah, just keep buying rounds of shots. Sambuca! I've got one more example from TV. We've been watching Succession, the HBO series. It's about a media mogul who he seems very disdainful towards his daughter Shiv's boyfriend, Tom, to the point that at the beginning of the series, he won't even look at him. He barely makes eye contact with the bloke. So, as dating someone whose parents were very powerful and rich and intimidating, you'd feel pretty rejected by behaviour like that, wouldn't you? But it emerges that he doesn't really mind his son-in-law. He's got no strong opinion of him either way. He's just an arrogant arsehole who doesn't give anyone the time of day. So I'm not throwing stones at your in-laws, Anton, but maybe they're the same. Maybe it's not that... I mean, you're getting the impression that they're not fond of you, but maybe they just don't care about you. Yeah. Which is, better than hatred, isn't it?
The anthill complex.
What's that?
Where people who believe there are like aliens out there think that they haven't contacted us because we're so insignificant to them. It'd be like us walking past an anthill and popping our head and saying, "Hello, ants."
Oh, okay. Yeah. Maybe your in-laws think you're an ant, Anton.
We've come full circle.
So, have you asked your girlfriend if they actually don't like you, or are you just guessing? Maybe just ask her. Just say, "Look, do your parents hate me? Do I need to do something about it? Because I've written into a podcast."
And they wouldn't no help whatsoever.
It wouldn't no help. So, we've reached the end of all of our problems for today. I haven't forgotten our idea for the day.
I'm very impressed. I thought you'd forget.
Yeah, I definitely did.
We're going to go one by one. What is the one piece of media you've mentioned today that you would recommend to our listeners as the take-home point? Liam.
Great song.
I've got a bit of a split jury on this in my brain, but we're going to go for "Strange" by Celeste just because I think it's a brilliant song and the lyrics are kind of just haunting and I love it.
All right, Carl.
Mine's going to be Enchanted. Fun for all ages and
Such a good film.
All kinds of people.
Yeah.
It's just a good fun, good uplifting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And mine would be All the Pretty Horses by Cormac McCarthy. Excellent book. Good idea, Liam.
I've seen Enchanted.
This isn't for you, Liam.
Well, it was. That's why I raised it.
Liam wanted one recommendation.
All right, you get Braveheart this week.
Since this is the first time, should we also give a recommendation for all of the previous episodes?
Oh my days.
I don't mean each individual one. I mean one thing we've mentioned in all of the previous episodes that's definitely worth.
Well, now.
Yeah. Because
right.
I've got mine already. It's Rumours by Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, one from all of the previous. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Mine would be Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy by John le Carre. Excellent book. Really gave me a sense of thrill and personal fulfillment.
Did it? Nice.
Well, no. No, I just wanted something deep to say about it, but it's really entertaining and well written.
Mine's going to be The Great Escape.
Okay.
All right, good. So that covers every other episode. We'll do that from now on, if we can remember. And if not, we'll summarise in a future episode.
Yeah.
We'll just do this over and over again. And that's all we've got time for today. Check the episode notes or agonyartpodcast.com to find links to all the media we mentioned today and for a link to the Agony Art Spotify playlist that Liam's put together with all the songs he mentioned. If you have a problem you'd like us to attempt to solve, you can reach us on our group Instagram and Twitter accounts at Agony Art Podcast or on the submissions page on our website. I'd like to thank our resident Agony uncles for their contributions. Thanks, Carl. Thanks, Liam.
Thank you.
Thank you. Rate us 5 stars.
And thank you for listening. We'll be back next week with more problems to muddle our way through and more entertainment for you to check out. See you later.
See ya.
Bye.
But I'd suggest keep it light, 'cause their advice can be shite, and they won't be held liable. Oh no, not at all, not here at Agony Art. Agony Art. Agony Art.